Hi, everybody. I have to make a quick message, okay? Because this is a theme in which I learned a particular lesson with, and then I'm seeing the aftermath of decisions made by elders, okay? So, this is gonna be a really quick message. All right. I'm sorry, y'all. That popcorn tastes so good. Anyway, so this video is about establishing trust between the youth, right? Children in which we are shaping consciousness, as well as their parental figures, okay? As someone who is being trusted to mold and shape the consciousness of the younger ones or the generations coming up behind us, how do we establish trust with the children as well as maintain trust with the parental figures? Okay? So, why am I talking about this? Because it is necessary for your children to have other outlets other than their parents in order to go through life challenges and life lessons. All right. So if a parent comes to you and they're like, I'm entrusting you to help shape the consciousness and guide my child. So I don't need to know every single thing that that child says and does, but I am trusting that you're in your leadership, that you will help navigate through life challenges with me. Okay, that is a great deal of trust. Okay, and this looks like many different type of relationship styles, right? Whether it be someone who let's say you and the parent is really close, and then you are providing guidance or so with the child, or you're teaching the child a particular skill. Okay, the children need to have outlets outside of their parents and guardians in order to be a well-rounded person. Okay? So that puts you as an elder in a very particular position where you're still establishing trust with the parents, but also trying to build trust with the children. Okay? So what does this actually look like? So there may be things where the child might ask you not to tell their parents. Okay? Now, this position I have been in, and I didn't really know how to handle it because it was important for me to establish trust between the person that is the child that's asking me. And when I say child, I mean relationship wise, right? This could be in any amount of age, okay? And I didn't really know how to handle it, but my basis, even when it comes to my friendships, right? For example, if my best friend asked me not to tell her mom something, I always say if it's not really life or death, I don't mind keeping that covenant. Okay. Now, if it's life or death, I used to tell my best friends all the time, if you are doing something that's clearly dangerous, I'm telling your mom. Why? Because I don't want, if something happens to you, that my conscience and my heart is heavy. Do you see what I'm saying? So as a friend, I will tell your mother. Okay? Not for you to get in trouble, but because we need to cover down to make sure that you are safe. If safety is being violated, I can't stand with you, my friend. Okay? And please, as my friend, I would hope that you wouldn't want to put me in a position that it's compromising my heart. Okay? Or my consciousness. All right? So what if it's someone younger than you? I think that is still implemented. Life or death situations, you definitely need to tell. When I say tell, it's not really tattletaling as much as making sure that the foundation of trust is not broken, the foundation of safety isn't broken, period. Okay? Now, what about the gray areas from safety and onward? All right. So I think in this conversation, the elders, the person who is being entrusted to help lead and guide the child through life challenges, as well as the parent, need to be on the exact same page. Okay? What does that mean? That means that you may have to tell the child, yes, I will hold this covenant with you. But in your adult brain, if you are seeing that this is going to be problematic for the child's development, I definitely think that in the back door of things, you should be telling their elders and their guardians, their parental figures. Okay? For example, but not just to tell and just be like, oh, don't freak out, but this and this. No, but also provide a way to open discussion on how we are going to handle it. Okay? If you see that a child is misbehaving, doing minor things, and it is a repetitive thing, I definitely think that you'd be like, hey, this is not to alarm you, parental figure, but I'm noticing this, right? This is part of the guardianship and the responsibility as an elder. I am noticing this type of behavior. I'm not sure if you're also noticing this, but I think after doing whatever research, I think we should, as a team, address these situations accordingly. Okay? And I'm just letting you know, I'm not going to be like running and tell you every little minor thing that's happening, but this is my plan moving forward. Do I have your support? Right? And you don't have to give great detail, but if you're noticing troubling behavior, it is your duty, thank you God, it is your duty to communicate that with the parents and the guardians. Okay. Now, it is a very strange line to walk because you don't really know what the relationship truly is behind closed doors with either party, with the parents, or the parents don't really know with you, right? But the whole focus is that we're keeping clear communication and trust through clear transparency. Right? This becomes a problem when something already happens. Let's say the ish hits the fan, and now you're coming passive aggressively to say, hey, I noticed this, this, and this, and I didn't tell you anything about it, but now we have a real problem. That right there, trust has been broken. Okay? The covenant between you and the child in the position, right? And I say child by anybody who you're an elder of, gets broken if your covenant is based off secrecy, especially if the foundation that's being held in the household is that you should come to me for everything. Right? Now, I grew up in that household where my mother has basically told me that if there's anything going on, you need to come and tell me, because I love you, I trust you. I'm saying trust should be built between us because I'm your mother. Right? I have the most to lose by your existence, okay, on the choices that you make. All right? So if that's the foundation at home, that should be upheld outside. But we all know and we understand that as we're evolving as children, there's puberty, there's hormones, there's things that you don't feel comfortable talking to your mother about. And so we trust other people to play pivotal roles in guiding and shaping them to their best possible future. Okay, so I don't think my mom wants to know every single thing about me, but if it's endangering me mentally, emotionally, spiritually, right? She definitely wants to know about it. Not till after the fact where I'm now struggling and being in depression and don't want to progress, right? That's when things become problematic. All right. So as people who cover down in society, we have to make sure that we are in lockstep with that. Not through secrecy, right? And then, like I said, if a child is telling you not to tell their parents something, it's definitely a conversation. Why don't you want to talk to your mom about this? What is the problem? Right? And it could be something very minute. It could be something that the mom said when they were younger that they're holding to heart to this day. Okay, so it's not about demonizing anybody involved, but it's also allowing the opportunity for everyone to get on the same page. Okay, so that's one thing I just wish I did a little differently, is by at least conversing with the parents and being like, hey, I'm noticing this and that, and I would like to come up with a plan, even if you guys come up with a plan together. Okay, it's better than not doing anything, or then being passive aggressive after the problem has already happened, and then you're like, well, I noticed this now. That doesn't help when the effect is already happening. Okay. All right. So you want to prevent situations too where the child now feels empowered to do what we call the mom and pop, right? Running to tell one party something, then running to tell the other party something else. The elders need to have a united front, because remember, children need to stay in children's places. Okay. And they will try to, it's just what you were a child once. I'm sure you remember having these kind of sentiments of trying to get away with doing certain things. Okay. But the whole point is that you have trust, that you don't judge any party before allowing them the opportunity to show up in that particular relationship in the best way to foster growth. Okay, that means that any preconceived notions, any assumptions that you may have about whether it be the parent, how the parent reacts, or the child is all being transparent. Okay, now, like I said, keep the covenant and trust, and the child doesn't need to know every single thing that you tell the parent, but there should be transparency between the parent and the person who is taking on guardianship, because the parent is entrusting you with that guardianship. Okay, or that relationship, to the point where you're not demonizing the mother, because remember, you're not supposed to be isolating the guardian or treating them like they're the enemy or anything like that, but to make sure that they're, at least you two are on the same page, and then sticking to that agreement. Okay, and the foundation should always be what's best for the child's growth, based on based on the behavior that we're seeing in the present. Okay, this child has these good qualities, and this child needs to work in these areas. How do we get these lessons for the areas in which needs improvement to stick? That is the foundation. Okay, so that means all other bull crap needs to be put aside. I think this is also could be helpful for those people who are doing co-parenting situations. All right, which means that you really have to put aside all things that has nothing to do with the development and the growth of the child. Any resentment, anything like that. Okay, that's my 2 cents on this. Mainly because I have played I've played 2 roles in that scenario, because I'm not a mom. So I played the guardian, and I've also played the child in that kind of scenario. So like I said, it's very important for your children to have an outlet outside of you, right? Do not debilitate them by just having you as the source. Okay, I'm talking to the parents, just having you as the source of information and growth. You're shorthanding them in life. Okay, I know there's been a lot of temptation for parents to be everything to a child, and you cannot. Okay, you have to allow growth. You have to allow the opportunity for growth. But like I said, you have to keep an eye out for those leaders. Make sure that you guys, before contracts are made, that we have a clear understanding of who you are in the relationship and what role they're playing in the child's life, and the expectations as such. Okay, so that's my 2 cents. Let me see if there's anything else. Yeah, I think the end of this whole thing, the idea is that trust. Maintain the trust. Okay, again, I know it's a little harder if you have a pre-existing relationship with someone who broken trust in different areas, but we have to believe that when we're showing up for the children, that we're holding that pillar strong. Okay, regardless of whatever opposite emotions that you may feel as far as this person being a partner, a wife, a husband, whatever those case may be, we have to show up in our egoic roles for the child. Mother, father, coach, friend, right? Brother, sister. You have to show up as those roles regardless. Okay? Yeah, that's it.